Welcome to Book News with DPW. How you doing there, Spencer?
Just fine.
Top headlines of the day. Prominent Hong Kong publisher arrested under new national security law. We need like a schlocky radio noises. Alan Dershowitz claims a fictional lawyer defamed him. The implications for writers are very real. Don't know who that is. Sean Hannity removes gobbledygook Latin motto from book cover. He had gobbledygook. Was it the word gobbledygook in Latin, or was it just
gobbledygook?
Actual gobbledygook. It was like the gobbledygooker from wrestling. Pete Hamill, journalist and author, dies at 85. Oh, that's sad. Oh, the Oprah magazine ends regular print editions in favor of greater digital presence. Hey, there's a topic we could riff on for a second. How do you feel about magazines switching to digital? I noticed that magazines I used to read, I don't read anymore. And then when they switch to digital and you have to pay for them, I'm definitely not reading them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the magazine is a weird thing that I don't think's gonna really be around.
To keep with the book theme here, I do like some literary magazines, but over the last couple years, and usually I pick these up when I go to a Barnes & Noble or when I go on, like, you know, an airport or something, you find them.
Randomly.
Because it's hard to find them unless you go on Amazon or something. I find that I don't like any of them anymore.
Yeah, I remember because I think one of the times you made a trip out to Barnes & Noble and you picked up a literary magazine and I think it was like the next week we went to record and I don't know if we talked about it on show or if it was just beforehand and you were just like, these are terrible. Wasn't one only like a couple words long?
Yeah, that was it was something like My Big Toe, or it was really stupid. I also found that most of the stories in those magazines now are very just pretentious and snobbish and stupid, and they don't go anywhere. The only magazine...
Well, isn't that literature, though?
Kind of. But the only magazine I found where I kind of enjoyed some of the stories are very well written and enjoyable was The New Yorker. But New Yorker is expensive, and I'm not fucking buying that. And also, the paper quality is dog shit.
Yeah.
It's like this crinkly... Like, you're not going to pay $10, $12, whatever dollars that it costs to buy one of those just for it to be crinkled mess that you can put on a shelf. At least even National Geographic's kind of shitty now. Like, the paper quality. They just went with the cheapest fucking...
Probably like newsprint paper.
Yeah. Oh, what else we got here? Book sales in France up 29% year on year since lockdown eased. Oh, that's good. That's good. The 2020 Booker Prize long list announced. If you guys want to check that out, I haven't been following the Booker Prize for years now.
I don't know what that is.
It's the biggest, like one of the biggest literary prizes.
Oh.
Which is why you don't know what it is, because you don't follow fine literature.
I don't. I do not.
I find that a lot of the books that get nominated for the Booker Prize are also pretentious and snobbish. No, they're a little, some of them are okay, I guess. 4-year-old lands book deal for his astonishing poetry.
Fuck you, kid.
Alright.
Fuck you, kid.
That's how we're in that.
That's the end of the episode. I think we're done.
Click. Editor's log, episode 605,000,003.
Kind of feels that way.
Yeah, we're a podcast. I think it's still DPW. Is Earth still around?
I can say, is there anybody listening out there?
Hey,
hello.
I mean, if you are listening, this is the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast. I do kind of feel like Will Smith and I Am Legend when he keeps sending out like the radio feed or whatever it was, trying to, just out in the ether, hoping somebody would respond or hear him. I hear creaking. We're talking about stuff today. I'm your host, Caleb James. With me today, Spencer, the Dubai Double Dipper Church. Ooh, yeah. That was a good one.
There's so many implications to it, too. That's
so many. You could be a chip double dipper. You could be gross.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
I think they're all kind of gross. Oh, man. Okay. Well, double dipper. Today's topic, the do's and don'ts of how to write a blurb for your novel. what inspired this is because I suck at writing blurbs. I know you suck at writing blurbs because I never even read one of your blurbs.
Not because I probably haven't really written one.
You do not try
to
write blurbs ever on the website. I have to write the blurbs for the story, and it's even worse than writing an actual story blurb because I literally have like maybe 3 sentences that'll fit on there because if I push it more than that, then the title gets pushed off the screen when the article or website story, whatever fucking publishes. So, I have to be very precise. And I just suck at it, and I don't even try, and they're always awful. And I feel like we would get more story views if I did a better job at the blurbs.
Do you think, like, whenever we write things, we need to write it in a mindset of, like, something, I need to pull something out of this as, like, whenever you do, like, a review for something?
Yeah.
Like, I need, like, as you're writing it, like, I need to think of something that, like, a line that I can pull later. Because that's my big thing. I just kind of write the thing, and then I'm like, you know, then it's like, what do I pull from here? I don't feel like anything's good enough to pick, you know, as a blurb. And
well, I asked this on Twitter, which kind of inspired the episode.
I figured.
About people who, and I am self-admitted, suck at blurb writing, and I know a lot of writers suck at blurb writing. And a couple of people had some handy information and stuff, but it's stuff I kind of already know. I just don't do it well. But I think the main thing is writers, we just suck about talking about our work. Even when somebody's like, hey, what are you writing? I don't know.
Well,
I just
even
can't tell.
Like, even if it's like, you know, whenever you get, like, you know, other authors to do a blurb about your story, like, I don't think I could do a blurb about, like, I don't know.
Somebody else's story?
Like, I don't think I could do a blurb for your story because, like, I have a very hard time describing something in a very, like, 2 or 3 sentence.
Very precise
thing. I'm like, well, then this happened, then that was great. Like, you know,
you kind of have to break down what the whole story's about, like beginning, middle, and end with maybe a paragraph.
But with not giving any of it away is the hard. Like, I could break it down that simply, but I can't break it down that simple without completely giving the story away.
Now, I know from talking to a lot of comic creators what their way of going about it is. And I don't really care for this way, is they describe, say, I don't know, you have a sci-fi comic. They'll describe it as The Matrix meets Slaughterhouse 5. And it's like, okay, but now you just got people thinking about 2 other, you know, franchises or books or whatever. That's how it always feels. Like, oh, Fight Club meets 1984. It's like, I want to know what your story's about, not... Is it fucking dystopian Fight Club? I mean, I think people do that because it's easier.
Yeah.
It's easier to describe your work by just describing somebody else's work that's already been described. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Comics are a little different because a lot of times you're actually just trying to get some name recognition.
Yeah.
Especially if you're an indie author, so maybe you want to kind of piggyback on something that's famous by saying, my story's like that. But as writers, you know, like novels and short stories and stuff, I don't want my stories like other people's stories.
Yeah.
I want to be original. I want my work to come off as, oh, that's just a Caleb James piece. You know, that was written by Spencer Church. Like, you could tell. You don't want it to be like, oh, that could have been written by, you know, Edgar Allan Poe because of the writing style and the themes.
Or just like some generic horror author.
Exactly. This article is Blurb blog, the amproject.org. There's I'll have to just tag or put this in the show notes because there's a lot in that title there. A lot of dots and dashes.
Yeah.
We're just gonna skip right into here. The do's and don'ts of writing a blurb. Do's: reference the genre and central theme. Create intrigue around the main conflict. Dive right in and introduce your protagonist. Keep it short and punchy. Reference your book writing or professional status if it relates to your book. That's interesting. That's one I didn't think of. Is say you're the author of Backdoor Bitches 9, if you have a popular book out there or something, you probably want to mention from the author of said popular, which is a good movie. You see that with Neil Gaiman or something, or Stephen King.
So like I say, you were bringing up comics earlier. Like, that's a lot of, like, comics is, like, just get things out there so then if you do get popular, you have, like, this backlog that can now sell because you got people, like, in your current stuff. Now they can go back and get your old stuff, and going forward, they know, like, oh, you had this one good thing, and you can just coast off that for the rest of your career.
Just coasting. That's why I was want to do like a Todd McFarlane, just coast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he kind of...
He still does creative, I'm just saying. Still coasting off a Spawn. The don'ts. Don't give away spoilers no matter how tempted you are. That's what you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
Give a summary of the first chapter. Oh, these are don't. I'm just going to throw in don't because they don't have it. Don't give a summary of the first chapter. Don't open with "in a world" or any other overused phrase. Don't give everything away. Don't say how amazing your book is. Don't compare yourself to other writers or your book to other books. See, that's what I was saying. I see that a lot. It's that last point is people comparing their work to other authors and other people's work. Like the new Stephen King. Like people like to do that with horror writers. And, a modern Clive Barker. Yeah. You don't be a modern Clive Barker. Be the first you.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I always found that weird, like, with blurbs, because, like, I always, therefore, why I understood it was just, like, I thought the blurb was where you got other people to write blurbs for your work, not, like, blurb your own stuff.
One thing I've learned in the publishing business thus far, especially being on the other end of, as an editor now of our fine publication, is you don't really, I guess you could learn this too, like with submitting to magazines and stuff. You don't realize blurbs to your story, you write them.
Yeah.
And your biography, like Spencer Church loves comics, and you write you sound like a douche because you're not saying I like to, you're saying in third person, like you're one of those, like the old school Rock, The Rock says. Yeah, right. you're like the Rock from wrestling.
But nowhere near as cool.
Nowhere near as cool. He doesn't do that anymore. He doesn't say, he doesn't refer to himself in the third person. I think that's a missed opportunity. I would keep that up for as long as I could if I was The Rock.
Well, I think he's still trying to always step away from The Rock.
I wouldn't. I would never. The Rock, the number one earning actor in Hollywood. Why are you referring to yourself like that, The Rock? Why did I refer to you as The Rock?
Because it doesn't matter why I refer to him.
It doesn't matter. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I just wanted him to tell like somebody in an interview to, call somebody a jabroni again.
I want him to bring back Candy Ass. That would be good. We'll give some information to the people now. The anatomy and examples of a blurb. While there's no perfect formula for writing the best blurb for your novel, there are some patterns worth noting. Firstly, highlighting your success in the book writing world. Secondly, introducing the protagonist in a way that creates intrigue without delving into details. And last but not, that's a hard one actually. And last but not least, referencing the central point of conflict without explaining how a resolution may come about. Take a look at the blurb examples below. Bella Andre's Kiss Me Like This, Donna Tartt's The Goldfinch, and E.L. James' 50 Shades of Grey. Could we learn something from E.L. James? That'd be... Yeah. I mean, she sold the shit out of that shitty book, so that might have been a very tantalizing blurb. Take notes of any patterns, any consistencies, and what the author seems to be saying and not saying. Before we get to the blurbs, I just wanted to say... I feel blurbs are more important now than they ever have been, because they used to just be on the back of books. Yeah. And maybe if, the Times or something posted about
if there was, an ad or something, there might be, a blurb in the corner or something.
But now you have to have it on your if your book's out there, you have to have it on Amazon, on Goodreads, everywhere you have it. People don't even, because it used to be, covers were the main thing people would buy books, the covers and author recognition, but now they see that blurb first and foremost. You see, a little thumbnail of the book, but you see the author's name and you see the blurb first.
Well, not only that, but just the culture nowadays, people won't, read, a couple paragraph review.
You have to be really tight with your blurb.
Or preview. If your thing going over, a couple of sentences, people don't got time for that no more.
So you have to be very tight with your blurb, and you can't rely just on good word of mouth and reviews as much as you used to be able to. Blurb 1 example from Kiss Me Like This by Bella Andre. From New York Times and USA Today best-selling author, Bella Andre comes a new adult contemporary series about the Morrisons. Sean Morrison, one of 6 siblings and the top college baseball player in the country, is reeling from a heartbreakingly painful loss. Nothing seems to matter anymore until the night Serena Britton unexpectedly ends up in his arms. Serena is a world-famous model who has only ever wanted to be normal, even though her mother has always pushed her to become a superstar. Though it isn't easy to try to leave everyone and everything she knows behind, Serena is determined to enroll in college. More than anything, she wants to turn her love for books into a new career that she actually loves. Only she never expected to meet someone like Sean on campus or to be instantly consumed by their incredible chemistry and connection. And then there's another paragraph, too. That seems pretty long to me.
Yeah, that's not like a blurb.
I mean, I guess it is, but that doesn't seem like a blurb that would even fit on the back of the book.
No.
Because, normally on the back of the book, if you're a best-selling author, they also have quotes and stuff from people praising your book.
That's like the thing like you see whenever you have like a hardback and you open it up and it's on the inside, the thing written on the inside cover. That's what that reminds me of.
I mean, I get it, because also we don't know how long these books are. I mean, it does tell you everything you need to know about the book, but I don't feel people would read that as much. And again, we're also coming, this is coming from short story writers. Our blurbs obviously aren't going to be that long. Neither of us have ever written a novel blurb, so that would be something to learn in the future. Blurb example number 2, The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, with 2 T's. I like that. Winner of the Pulitzer Prize, Theo Decker, a 13-year-old New Yorker, miraculously survives an accident that kills his mother. See, that hooks you immediately.
Yeah.
That's a lot going on just in that first sentence. Abandoned by his father, Theo is taken in by the family of a wealthy friend. Bewildered by his strange new home on Park Avenue, disturbed by schoolmates who don't know how to talk to him, and tormented above all by his longing for his mother, he clings to the one thing that reminds him of her, a small, mysteriously captivating painting that ultimately draws Theo into the underworld of art. As an adult, Theo moves silkily between the drawing rooms of the rich and the dusty labyrinth of an antique store where he works. He is alienated and in love, and at the center of a narrowing, ever more dangerous circle. The Goldfinch is a mesmerizing stay up all night and tell all your friends triumph, an old-fashioned story of loss and obsession, survival and self-invention, and the ruthless machinations of fate. I feel like that second to last paragraph wasn't needed, but other than that, it's pretty tight.
Yeah.
Because that first paragraph is actually only a couple sentences because he has commas and, semicolons there, breaking it up. And then the third one actually tells you, the words like mesmerizing kind of makes you more intrigued by the book. Here's your favorite one. We're going to find out if E.L. James is really a genius here, or if she's just a lucky ducky. Blurb example number 3, 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James. I don't like that she doesn't have periods between those initials. Your name's not E.L. Or is it? When literature student Anastasia... Oh, I hate it. Sorry. Fucking Anastasia. Why is she Anastasia?
Anastasia Steele.
For a white girl. Fucking piss. I don't know why that's always pissed me off. What are you, fucking Russian princess? Like, what are you doing here? Sorry. When literature student Anastasia Steele goes to interview young entrepreneur Christian Grey, she encounters a man who is beautiful, brilliant, and intimidating. The unworldly, innocent Anna is startled to realize she wants this man and, despite his enigmatic reserve, finds she is desperate to get close to him. Unable to resist Anna's quiet beauty, wit, and independent spirit, Grey admits he wants her too, but on his own terms. Shocked yet thrilled by Grey's singular erotic taste, Anna hesitates. For all the trappings of success, his multinational businesses, his vast wealth, his loving family, Grey is a man tormented by demons and consumed by the need to control. When the couple embarks on a daring, passionately physical affair, Anna discovers Christian Grey's secrets and explores her own dark desires. See, that actually makes that book sound way better.
Yeah.
Like, why is that better written than the actual book? Because, twisted desires, he's controlling. Like, it gives you everything you need to know about the book without giving anything about the book. You don't know it's about fucking whipping buttholes and stuff. Like, there's no dildo drawer in this. I mean, I would have threw dildo drawer, butt plug drawer. The butt plug drawer.
Yeah.
I would have threw that in my blurb. I mean, even if I wrote, like, a Christian romance that has to deal with Santa Claus and there's no butt stuff in it at all, it's very family-friendly, I would still put butt plug drawer in, if you want to sell books, folks, if you want to sell books, no matter what story or what you're writing, throw a butt plug drawer in somewhere in that blurb. I'm telling you,
I'll buy it.
Guys like Spencer will buy that book. You writing like sparkly fairy fiction? A little bit of butt plug drawer. If you want it, maybe like a rustic butt plug carved out tree hollow.
Oh yeah, there you go.
A hollowed out tree stump. That'd be good.
Yeah.
But you can say fanny, like fanny plug, or class it up.
Rump plug.
I was going to think out loud the word rump plug, but I did not. Rump plug. I like rump plug. That's a good one. Did you learn anything there, Spencer?
A little bit in the do's and don'ts. I think they do a good job of breaking down like the basic things that make a good blurb. But there's examples. I don't know if I really agree, because like I said, like we were saying, those don't seem like blurbs to me.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of blurbs, I think like 2-3 sentences tops.
Well, this next list is going to be for everybody to enjoy. And it's going to be extra good because this is by good authors. 8 bad book blurbs by good writers. Okay. To counterbalance the good blurbs by, if it's E.L. James, a bad writer. 8, and this is on the Huffington Post, so I'm not going to link them because I don't want to give them the attention. No real reason why. Well, I guess there's a reason. They don't fucking pay the writers. They're dicks. Number 8, Frank McCourt on The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. In The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, Mitch Albom lifts up to a new level. You'll find echoes here of the classics, the Odyssey for one, and that puts Albom's book in the best of company. So he's already, comparing to the book to classic. Yeah. So I guess this is Frank McCourt doing the blurb for Mitch Albom. Whoa! The Odyssey album's much less read than Maury novel has echoes of the Odyssey in the same way that a fat guy playing paper toss on his iPhone has echoes of Michael Jordan. This is a very poorly laid out article. Sorry, folks. So the first paragraph there was the actual blurb. So these aren't blurbs as in like the author writing their story blurb. This is famous writers writing like how you'd see like Stephen King in the intro blurbs they put where it's like, oh, Clive Barker's the next king of horror or whatever he said in Books of Blood. So 7, Nelson DeMille on the Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. Dan Brown has to be one of the best, smartest, and most accomplished writers in the country. The Da Vinci Code is many notches above the intelligent thriller. This is pure genius. I'll take paternity, patently absurd for 1,000. That's fucking dumb. That was a bad one. 6, Jeffrey Eugenides on Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. If you want to know who's upholding the high comic tradition, passed down from Stern to Swift to Pynchon, it's Wallace. This book has a lot of tennis in it, but the phrase that leaps to mind comes straight from the NBA. He's the man! He's the man! These are terrible, but this is what I was looking for. So, how would you go about writing a blurb for your current story in progress? Or you know what? Make it easier, because that's obviously not finished. Do a blurb for Daily Rounds. 1 paragraph is all you got. 4 sentences.
4 sentences?
4 sentences max.
Let's see. Something along the lines of like a fun adventure story set in unlikely places. Follow. I can't even remember the main character's name.
I was just gonna say, I was trying to think of the main character's name, and I was like, I don't remember.
But follow that guy as he embarks at his new job as a maintenance worker in
interdimensional,
or maybe like a
hotel. I think you'd want to say the hotel first, like in the opening sentence, it'd be something along the lines of. I don't remember the character's name, so we'll just call him Frank.
Yeah.
But just say like. Even bring up the interdimensional hotel to another.
I was trying to work as he works on his new job as a maintenance in a. I was want to try to find a way to allude to something weird going on in the hotel, but not quite tell.
Interdimensional,
so it does. So it's still like kind of like a little bit more of a surprise when they start to read it. But I'm not. Something along that line.
Maybe like when Frank takes up a mysterious job offer he finds on the deep web or whatever. I forget where he found that. But
it was on the internet.
He bites off more than he can chew. That's obviously a generic trope. We wouldn't use that, but something along those lines. When he gets the opportunity of a lifetime, and then you could just go into it's hard to, especially a story like that. I think that almost suffers from the same thing, like the blurb for The Hike. Remember when we did The Hike, we talked about how which was just coincidental. We talked about the blurb, but the hike was like really long and never really told anything that happened.
But it seemed awesome, though.
It did seem awesome. I think your story would fall along those lines because it was very weird.
Yeah.
I think the butcher story would be an easier one to do a blurb on because, again, I forget the guy's name. Buck the Butcher.
Buck the Butcher.
But you can do... see, that's a hard one, though, because then you don't want to give away the main...
Yeah.
So
you could be like, follow Buck as he tries to... make a new light. I don't know, because you would want to throw something because it's kind of almost like a thriller kind of.
I think you'd want to start off with something along the lines of I would want to use something like extra bloody cuts from Buck the Butcher, in your opening, something along those lines.
Something that grabs their attention.
Yeah, because that'd be almost like a comic style.
Maybe
the cuts are extra bloody at Buck's butcher shop. And then go into breaking down kind of who is Buck, central, you want to mention how he's annoyed at the customers he has, kind of allude to the fact that there might be some cannibalism going on, but not actually say it. We have a lot of work to do with that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because that's going to be another thing.
We're going to have blurbs here. We release some work, we need some fucking blurbs. Trying to think of a story I wrote where I could put a blurb. I don't even remember any stories I wrote. Do I write stories still?
What about your adventure story?
That would be easier. I feel like the first one I released, the Asher Kang story, which you find folks can read all these stories on our website. Not the Butcher story, that's not out yet. I would say so because it's about the main character Asher Kang in a battle in the frozen north, and then due to circumstances, all the people who died on the battlefield rise again. So I would say something along the lines of in the frozen north, frozen wasteland. Do you think that's a little too harsh, probably?
Yeah. And again, frozen wasteland is something that kind of gets thrown around a lot.
I would say in the frozen north on a battlefield, and then that's
You know what might be a good way to also kind of do the blurbs is instead of typing it out, is maybe get on your phone or whatever and get to the voice just to kind of get that kind of
feeling.
At least maybe to, the beginning to get the bare bones of it to get just the pacing and the phrasing, and then you might have to go and manually and type fix it up by typing, but that might be a helpful tip too.
I feel like advertising people are really good at this.
That's kind of their job, basically.
Yeah, but I think that's how they get into it is because they're just really good at it. Because I know a lot of people who are really good at blurbs are not good at writing. I mean, it's weird because they're obviously good at writing blurbs, but when it comes to creative stories, they're not. People who write blurbs really well also seem to be people who are really good at reviewing stuff.
I was gonna say that's probably where you get a lot of times. I know whenever I see a blurb about something, it's a reviewer too. It's either the author, another author, or a reviewer.
Yeah, that seems to be. I think it's just the type of writer you are, and I would probably venture to say that even if those writers did dabble into work that's not reviews or something, it'd probably be nonfiction writing, life blogs or historical work or whatever it be. I wish I could write blurbs better. I feel like we should actually practice this. Maybe go through the site, pick out some stories, and write real blurbs for them.
Even write a couple.
Because we both suck at it, and like I said, I think our stories and stuff would get a lot more reads if the blurbs were better.
Yeah. Because
sometimes I just kind of leave them as a question. Usually it's flash fiction pieces, but I don't know. What's I forget. You had a couple superhero ones or something, origins, and be what would happen in a world if everyone suddenly got power? Just something stupid.
Basically, all the stuff that we're not supposed to do.
Just tell the story right off the bat. I'll have to say, we have to look through our stories and get the ones with the most views, see what the blurbs are, and see if they're better than the ones with the...
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because Daily Rounds and My Bazaar of the Blind, those are serial stories. So that was hard because each part...
Oh, you had to come up with a new blurb.
Yeah, it was an individual blurb, so that would be almost like a chapter blurb. That's a whole nother episode, trying to write chapter blurbs. Maybe you can kind of come up... I think you would be able to come up with that if you did chapter outlines.
Maybe,
because that's essentially what you're doing is coming up with a blurb. Because you're just like, unless you're like a detailed chapter outliner, obviously. I don't know if we learned anything.
Did we ever?
But we tried. The do's and don'ts on that article were okay, but they didn't really go in depth there, and I don't know. Folks, we hope to get better at blurbs by the time. I mean, maybe I'll work on the blurb for the actual, in the show notes. I always do kind of a blurb of what the episode's about. Maybe I'll work on those. And
there you go.
Also, I suck at Twitter, and I think the reason, like the DPW Twitter especially, again, it's because you're kind of writing blurbs. Like when I post stuff on Twitter for like a story or something, or the podcast, I'm just like, hey, another episode, check it out, because it's zany. Yeah. I should probably actually...
wacky.
Yeah, but like, Spencer Church ate too many burritos for dinner, then recorded the podcast. Find out what happens next on the Dragon Ball Z should be our inspiration for coming up cliffhanger blurbs.
Yes, right.
So for when we do Twitter for, the podcast and stuff, we should go Dragon Ball Z style.
There you go.
On the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Or previously.
Spencer's chair gives out mid-podcast. He falls directly on his spine. How does it go? Find out on the next episode of the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast. They forgot to take Nitro's janglers off, and he goes wild and whips it directly into Spencer's chin.
Why is everything happening to me?
Because you're on the opposite side. I'm behind the gadgets.
Okay.
The ceiling collapses. Everyone dies, except for Caleb, which means only Spencer died. Find out if he was resuscitated on the next episode of the Drunken Pen. I want to listen to those just to see if he died. I should just start lying. Just to get the... If we had ads, I would definitely just lie. I'd be like, interview with Johnny Depp. And then we'd just be like, hi, Johnny Depp, and just play a quick clip of him just saying hi or something, and then be like, okay, goodbye. Anyway, today we're talking about, and just skip the whole... So we're technically not lying to people.
Yeah, that's all we could afford.
That's all we got.
40 seconds of Johnny Depp. Took all of our life savings.
And it wasn't even really... It was just a YouTube clip of him. Also, folks, if you're still listening, which... Why? If you're not, I wouldn't blame you if you gave up after the 20-minute mark. We are open for Halloween submissions, flash fiction, short stories, and poetry. Do you remember the guidelines? I don't. I think the cutoff for stories is 5,000 words. The cutoff for flash fiction, I'm just going to say 1,000. It might be 850 or less. Preferably,
it was originally like 500.
Yeah, actually, I think it is 500. Just stick to 500. That's actual flash fiction. Sometimes we let you get away with a little more, but then you're pushing short story territory. Poetry, I think it's like 82 lines or something. Go on the website to find out the full details, and you submit these to drunkenpenwriting@gmail.com. But again, got to follow the guidelines and give us a brief cover letter. Doesn't have to be too detailed. If you want to follow us on the old internet, you can go to Twitter, where we are at Drunk Pen Writing, on Instagram at Drunken Pen Writing, and Facebook, also Drunken Pen Writing. Pretty soon we're going to be doing some new stuff. Not quite yet. Still got a few things to do at the old studio, but we're close.
We'll get in there.
Yeah, I do want to start doing some videos and stuff starting next week, Spencer.
Okay.
Got any video ideas?
Not safe for work ones.
Might also start a OnlyFans if you want to see my feet. If you want to see Spencer get hit with Ooh, Spencer, how do you feel?
I'm going to probably tell you not good about it, but...
I wear the high stilettos, and you lay on the ground in the nude. And we play a game called Stomp.
I don't wanna. Like, if I'm gonna get stomped with stilettos, like, why do you gotta be the one wearing them? Like,
I gotta wear, like, fishnet stockings.
First of all, like, where are we gonna find a pair that's gonna fit you? You gonna go to, like, the big gal store?
Hey, now, I know a couple, ladies in Taiwan that get it. Well, I guess their feet are smaller in Taiwan. Didn't think that through. Sorry, folks in Taiwan. That's also not Taiwan, is it? It's Thailand. Man, I just fucked up everything. Anyway, that's it for us. Till next time. Keep drinking, keep writing, keep smoking crack.
Yeah.